What's going on, guys? I'm Shane and welcome to Spare Change. If you're an audio and video enthusiast and want to keep up with the latest in AV tech and highest quality movies, consider becoming a subscriber for new weekly content. In for a review, we have 1997's Air Force One on 4K Blu-ray. I won't be discussing any plot details, I'm just going to share with you my thoughts on the video and audio quality. And if you're interested in my review equipment, you can always find links down below in the description. Now for a few tech specs. The movie was shot on 35mm. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated R. Runtime is 124 minutes. Aspect ratio is 239:1, so there are black bars if you're watching on a television. Now this is a Sony transfer, and Sony once again does a great job in this catalog title. The image quality I thought had a very good to great level of detail. Of course, the many close-up and tighter shots were rendered with the most information. I never noticed this in other movies he's been in, but I was able to see a variation in skin complexion on Harrison Ford's neck in this shot. It looks as if he's got some lighter patches of skin here, or maybe he's a little sunburned. Freshly shaven faces, wrinkles, and pores were richly detailed, and so were the textures on clothing, with stitching and fibers being more evident. This was also shot on film, so there is a level of softness here. It's not going to be 4K digital crisp, so don't go into this thinking it's going to be. There's also some film grain, and it does get a little heavy at times, but I found it was pretty light for the most part. HDR usage was moderate, with a mostly natural and somewhat subdued color palette. So no bold, vivid, eye-popping colors here. Spectral highlights did show up from muzzle flashes and lights, with the explosion in Chapter 9 being a big attention grabber. It's super bright, so get those sunglasses ready. Black levels are decent, though not extremely dark and contrasty, but shadow detail does remain visible in the darker shots. Oh, and some of the digital effects do hold up very well, but other times they can look pretty bad. Audio gets a new Dolby Atmos mix, and I thought high channel effects were used quite often. There's a cool voice effect in Chapter 1 when the soldiers are talking to each other, and you can hear all the dialogue coming through all the speakers in the entire room. The plane explosion in Chapter 12 was the big heavy dynamic moment with some decent bass, but I think bass response could have used a little bit more impact because those few explosive parts that we do get lacked a true low-end rumble. Sound movement between channels were good, with planes flying around the room in Chapter 16. Some light ambiance is always present when things aren't tense, and dialogue was always clean and easy to hear with no issues. So for audio, I'm gonna go with an 8. I think this new mix follows the on-screen actions accurately, but given the age of the movie, some of the effects aren't all that dynamic and detailed sounding. Atmos height effects are used often, and you do get a decent immersive feeling. Bass, however, could use a little more work. For video, I'm gonna go with an 8 as well. This is a great looking catalog title with some excellent looking shots. It's got a nice filmic look with some nicely resolved grain. And as I mentioned before, it's not 4K razor sharp, but for a movie of this age, it does look very nice. Now, if you love those 90s action movies, you may like this one. It's a decent watch, and it's got Harrison Ford. So if you're interested in grabbing this disc, I'll leave a link down below in the description. Let us know if you'll be picking this up on 4K Blu-ray. Be sure to check us out on social media. And if it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys again in the next one.